Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury had been in talks for a fight with each other since 2020. 6 years of negotiations, starting after Fury beat Wilder for the WBC heavyweight world title. Since then, of course, the fight has fallen apart multiple times, and there's been a lot of discourse on who has been ducking who, with AJ fans saying Fury is ducking and Fury fans saying AJ is ducking. So the point of this video is to find out who has really been ducking the other one over the past few years from an unbiased point of view. Both have upcoming fights for the summer, and if the fight doesn't happen next, then I'm fairly confident it will never happen ever. It's now or never for this fight, so I'm praying to God for this fight to happen this year, and the fact this fight hasn't happened yet shows the problems with boxing as seen in the past with Mayweather Pacquiao, and I'm scared this may happen again with Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, but that's a whole video in itself because I have so much to say about that situation and that fight. I know the word duck gets thrown around a lot, so I'm not going to use that term unless it's a clear avoidance of a fight. I feel like you're only a duck if you avoid a fight where the stipulations are fair, and I don't think a fighter is a duck if they avoid a fight that has just ridiculous stipulations. If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe because there is plenty of videos I have planned for the future, and let me know of what you think of the whole AJ Fury situation in the comments below. My name is Chelsea, and this is who really ducked who between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Just really quickly before we get into this video, I want to give a quick preview for the Foster-Ford fight for the WBC Super Featherweight World title, which I think by the time the video should be out should be tonight. This is a weird one for me because based on the build-up, it seems both guys are overlooking each other, which is something no one should do for either of these guys. Like, I heard Foster say this is just a stay busy fight. Ray Ford is not a stay busy kind of fight. I've been following Ray Ford for years now. He's probably my favorite featherweight or super featherweight along with Navarrete. But this fight with Foster is a great fight. I was originally going to make an entire video about this, but I got busy, as you can probably tell from my upload schedule, but this is a great fight. I really want Ford to pull it out. He's very fast, very good counter-punching ability. He's so fun to watch, but I think Foster is just as good as him, but I also think he's physically stronger than Ford, which very well could be the difference. Ford showed his toughness in the Mick Ball fight and the Otavec fight, but Foster is a much bigger man than Ball, and he's bigger and longer than Ray Ford. Ray Ford has decent defense, but he is hittable, and we saw the way Foster was able to get through a solid defensive fighter in Stephen Fulton, albeit Stephen Fulton is much smaller. Both looked great in their last fights. I want Ford to win. I haven't been able to look too closely at this fight, so I'd probably lean towards Ray Ford just because I know more about him, but I very well could be wrong. But yeah, let's get into the video. They first entered negotiations in 2020 after Fury beat up Wilder for the WBC title. The fight would have been for the undisputed titles at heavyweight since Fury had the WBC one and AJ had all the rest. The two apparently agreed to a 2-fight deal in June 2020, but the fight didn't happen because of COVID, so they had supposedly still been agreed to the 2-fight deal in 2021, but they weren't able to make the fight because Wilder had activated his rematch clause for the trilogy fight with Fury and refused to take any step-aside money. Now, Wilder originally initiated the rematch clause in March 2020, a month after the second fight, pushed to October because of COVID and then to December. Meaning, within the time Fury had agreed to the 2-fight deal with AJ, he knew about Wilder's rematch clause, and there's no way he didn't know that Wilder wanted the rematch. Fury claimed the clause had expired. Wilder said the same thing, and it became kind of a he said, she said situation, but it came down to the judge, and the judge ruled the arbitration in Wilder's favor, meaning Fury had to fight Wilder next. While all this was going on, AJ had his mandatory defense under the IBF and fought Pulev at the end of 2020, and the WBO held off on a mandatory Usyk for the Fury fight. Now, there's multiple ways of looking at this situation. On one hand, you can say there's nothing Fury could have done. It was in the contract that Wilder had a rematch clause and activated it, so he had no choice but to fight Wilder. And if AJ really wanted the fight, he wouldn't have went off and fought Pulev in December. But on the other hand, you could say Fury knew all this, which he did, and shouldn't have been talking about the AJ fight as if it was basically a done deal and made that announcement video for the fight, and that he shouldn't have been negotiating with AJ for a fight in the first place when fighting Wilder was a real possibility. I know you might think, well, if AJ wanted to fight, he wouldn't have went off and fought Pulev, but that's excusable because Pulev was a mandatory under the IBF, who are really strict with their mandatories. The fight was supposedly agreed for August 14th, 2021 in Saudi Arabia, but didn't happen because of the arbitration, so Fury went off and fought Wilder again in October, and AJ would lose his belts to Usyk in September. Again, there's multiple ways of looking at this, but I just don't see why Fury would agree to terms in June 2020 to fight AJ. When Wilder initiated his rematch clause in March 2020, there's no way Fury wouldn't have known that. And the fact Wilder wanted $20 million step-aside money for Fury to fight AJ was too much, apparently. I know $20 million is a shit ton of money, but you need to take into account how much Fury would have made in the AJ fight. So what's the problem with paying Wilder $20 million in order to make the biggest fight in boxing at the time, and you would make that $20 million back anyways? Again, there's different ways of looking at this, but for the reasons I just stated, I would say this is a moment where Tyson Fury ducked Anthony Joshua. For you to agree to terms in June when you knew that there was a rematch clause that had been initiated in March, why would you continue to negotiate and agree to a fight when you knew you would be ordered to fight Wilder again? It just doesn't make sense. So, after all that fell apart, Usyk beat AJ in September, Fury had that great trilogy fight with Wilder in October, then would fight Dillian Whyte in a mandatory in April 2022, before AJ lost the rematch with Usyk in August. After that fight, Fury publicly challenged Anthony Joshua in a call-out video for a fight in December 2022, and Fury imposed a deadline on September 26th, Monday at 5 p.m. Both fighters had agreed to the purse split of what I believe was a 60-40 split in Fury's favor, but the fight didn't happen because of broadcasting issues and the deadline. Fury posted the video calling out AJ on September 5th, which gave Joshua 3 weeks to negotiate and agree to a fight for December 3rd. So, to put this all in perspective, AJ had a 8-week training camp with a new trainer, Robert Garcia, for the Usyk rematch on August 20th, where after the fight he had that whole meltdown, and on September 5th, which is about 2.5 weeks after the fight, Fury called out AJ for a fight with a 3-week negotiation window for a fight on December 3rd, which means there to be roughly another 8-week training camp for the fight. 3 weeks is not enough time to come to terms for a fight this big, and AJ was clearly at a low point because of the interview after the Usyk fight where he had that meltdown, and he had a new trainer, and he was just coming off an 8-week camp and the 12-round title fight. Fury's last fight was in April, and he ended up fighting Derek Chisora in a trilogy fight in December. I think Fury put all this pressure on him publicly because he knew Joshua was at his weakest point at this time. I don't think a fighter is ducking as long as the terms of the fight aren't too ridiculous, and in this case they were. Fury obviously wasn't ducking in this situation, but neither was AJ. The fight just wasn't realistic to make in this situation. But I think one thing we can all agree, we still want that 4th fight with Derek Chisora. And that brings us to today, because from 2020 to now, it was just a bit of a going back and forth, and that it's not really even worth going over, to be honest. And I think AJ was more focused on making the Deontay Wilder fight within this time, and Fury was busy with the Usyk fights. AJ had his fight with Jake Paul back in December, and Fury had his fight with Makhmudov back in April, and we've all seen the post-fight interview where he calls out AJ Both now have each of their fights scheduled for the summer, and if it doesn't happen this time after these next fights, it will never happen. Supposedly, the fight is fully agreed this time, both are signed to fight each other, everything is agreed, it's going to be on Netflix I think, and the fight will go ahead as long as the two win their next fights. So historically, to sum it all up, they first started negotiating in 2020, where COVID was a big obstacle in making the fight. But the whole Wilder arbitration thing happened, and I believe Fury ducked AJ here because why would you agree to a fight for August 2021 when you first agreed to the fight with AJ in June 2020 when you knew Wilder had initiated the rematch clause in March? The next meaningful negotiations were after the Usyk rematch, where Fury had all these ridiculous stipulations and a 3-week negotiation period for the biggest fight in boxing, while AJ was clearly at his weakest point, where I don't think AJ ducks because I don't think you're a duck when the stipulations are so ridiculous like they were here. So, historically, Fury has ducked more. 1-0. And that is the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe because I have plenty more videos planned for the future. And if you would disagree with anything I said in this video, which I'm sure some people do, I would love to hear it in the comments below. I've been Chelsea of Fighting, and until next time, leave me alone.